what CNN is doing right now in Kabul is incredible reporting. Like this is the peak of reporting. So when people turn around and say like they're chanting death to America, but they seem friendly at the same time, like, you know, Jack Posobiec, you would literally shit your pants if you saw a brown person and you're out here like literally on a woman for being in the middle of that conflict zone, literally in the middle of Kabul. Like Ted Cruz is talking shit about this lady that is like actually doing on the ground reporting, saying, is there an enemy of America for whom CNN won't cheerlead in mandatory burqas nonetheless? You literally,
in the US,
okay,
I am a minority,
you escaped your state when a light breeze brought down your entire electricity grid. You ran away to Cancun. You're going to talk shit about a person who's in the heart of conflict doing like reporting? Should we just not do that rather than running off to Cancun in tough times? Clarissa Ward is risking her life to tell the world what's happening. That's called bravery. Instead of retweeting a conspiracy theorist's misleading soundbite, perhaps your time would be better spent helping Americans in harm's way. That's actually a fucking good-ass take. Let's watch this coverage now.
Taliban fighters have flooded the capital. Smiling and victorious, they took the city of 6 million people in a matter of hours, barely firing a shot.
This is a sight I honestly thought I would never see. Scores of Taliban fighters, and just behind us, the U.S. Embassy compound.
Some carry American weapons. They tell us they're here to maintain law and order.
I wonder where they got those, boys. What happened?
Everything is under control. Everything will be fine, the commander says. Nobody should worry.
What's your message to America right now?
America already spent enough time in Afghanistan.
These motherfuckers are like, yo, yeah, dude, women can't be out in the streets. Meanwhile, literally everyone's wearing guy liner, okay? Which I don't have a problem with. Like, it looks good. Okay, it looks cool. It looks cool. It looks cool. You're looking like Johnny Depp, okay? Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, you know, let people, let everybody do that.
They need to leave, he tells us. They already lost lots of lives and lots of money. People come up to them to pose for photographs.
There are countries that also facilitated additional deals with the Taliban that are still operating their embassies, like Russia, for example, for the record.
They're just chanting death to America, but they seem friendly at the same time. It's utterly bizarre.
What a take. They're cheering, they're saying death to America, but they seem friendly at the same time. It's a bizarre sight.
Chanting death to America, but they seem friendly at the same time. It's utterly bizarre.
At the presidential palace, the Taliban are now guarding the gate.
To the people who are freaking out about this, by the way, like, you can see that she's confused by it as well. Also, why don't people understand? Of course, people around the world say death to America. They fucking hate America. We literally had John McCain sing about how he wanted to bomb Iran on a fucking campaign trail, dude.
That old Beach Boys song, Bomb Iran. Bomb, bomb, bomb. Bomb Iran. Bomb, bomb, bomb. Bomb Iran.
Why is that so hard to comprehend for people? Like, literally, in their eyes, and there is some truth to this, there's a lot of truth to this, we are the fucking bad guys. So, of course, they're going to fucking say death to America. What do you mean? We say death to Afghanistan all the time. There's motherfuckers in the chat who are like, why can't we just like nuke them and get it over with? I don't understand. Like, I'm sorry. Maybe it's understandable that like some of these dudes are literally like, yeah, death to America. And that's why it's bizarre. Like, that's why it's bizarre to someone who doesn't understand. It's like, why are they so peaceful yet they're saying death to America? It's like, because that's a normal chant. If your entire existence has been defined by American imperialism, then yeah, of course you're going to be like, death to America.
They say they're here to fill the vacuum left when the government fled. But the welcoming spirit only extends so far, and my presence soon creates tension.
It's because of you.
They've just told me to stand to the side because I'm a woman.
Outside, ordinary Afghans clamored to talk to us, struggling to process the dizzying speed of Kabul's fall.
Actually,
so it's fun that terrorists now basically have a safe haven they can operate and plan their next attack from. If the U.S. didn't do anything, 9/11 would have been at least the U.S.'s problems. No matter how we look at this, a terrorist win, and in 5 to 10 years, people will reflect because crazier shit happened in that time. Most likely worse than 9/11. Yeah, remember when the Taliban did 9/11, dude? That was so crazy. Oh, wait, that's not what fucking happened. As a matter of fact, there were 2 instances, one before 9/11 and one after 9/11, where the Taliban wanted to negotiate with the United States to offer Osama bin Laden to the American authorities, which Bush said, nah, we're just going to keep bombing you guys. I don't give a fuck. Okay? So shut the fuck up. Like, we are allied with the royal family that directly funded the 9/11 attacks. 15 out of the 17 hijackers were Saudi nationals. Okay? Osama bin Laden is Saudi Arabian.
4 months.
Those are our allies, though, because they got a lot of fucking oil. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, oh, dude, terrorists have a safe haven. Terrorists have a safe haven all around the world. You know, as long as they're aligned with the United States government, at least for a particular time. And they align with the United States government for our regional interests, okay? Didn't the Taliban now say they plan on attacking U.S. oil? Why would they do that? The United States facilitated this deal so that the Taliban could take over the country. Why would they turn around and be like, it's time to attack America now? First of all, they don't even have they don't have the resources to attack America. Okay, that's number one. And number two, why would they unironically attack the country that finally fucking gave them the entirety of Afghanistan? Get off your high horse. Why do you always have the shittiest takes? If we just stayed in Afghanistan for a little longer, the Afghan army would have received the blueprints to create the most versatile kusi any army could have dreamed of. Get off your high horse. Jesus Christ, dude. But the countries surrounding Afghanistan, especially India, will definitely face much more terrorism and lead to the further rightward shift there. Okay, so here's what I think. And this is pure speculation, and I might be completely wrong on this. But what I think is that we in the United States of America executed this deal with the Taliban when we in the United States of America realized 15 fucking years ago that the Afghan government, the puppet state that we had put together, and the security forces that we were pumping funds into to the tune of $90 billion were never going to be able to hold off the Taliban. Okay? Because during our invasion and occupation of Afghanistan, the Taliban's influence only grew, and their cause became more justifiable in the eyes of many people who thought that there were outside occupiers coming into their fucking country again in a similar capacity to the USSR. So they thought to themselves, well, if it's inevitable, should we just force the issue and try to get the Afghan government to put a strong front against the Taliban, which is never going to happen? Or should we just give Afghanistan to the Taliban, let them take over peacefully, facilitate a peaceful evacuation and a peaceful, at least bloodshed causing takeover, and allow regional leaders to also engage in similar deals and functionally normalize a Taliban government? The answer is, that's what I think was the ultimate goal for this. And that's why I don't even think that this is going to turn into massive chaos and trouble for India even. But I don't know. It could. It depends on who now tilts the scales in what direction. But as it stands, the amount of like money and weapons the Taliban has is just completely, entirely dependent on the Pakistani-Indian relations. Okay? It depends on what China does. As it stands, though, if you think that they're going to fucking, you know, invade America or some shit like that, you're out of your mind. They have, they're too busy trying to fucking take over and successfully run Afghanistan in the way that they wanted to for a very long time, that they were waiting for. But they were always going to wait out the American occupation.
I feel nothing right now. We want peace. We are tired of this ongoing war.
What does the future look like to you now?
You know, I cannot predict even in seconds right now, and I can't predict even minutes right now. So that's why I don't know what will happen tomorrow and what will happen after.
And that's really what it feels like on the ground. Honestly, John and Brianna, it's anyone's guess as to what the situation on the ground will look like in 2 hours, let alone 2 days.
You're like mainstream media gaining viewers and money when the world is burning. Hey, man, it's not my fault that you did not know of my existence until shit is hitting the fucking fan.
Hey,
you were
Hussein,
in
what's
here
your idea
months
on
ago
bringing people
or even
over
years
who'd like to
ago,
flee right
and you
now?
asked me a question. There was a high likelihood that I would answer you on what my positions are on this issue. But there's a reason why people come here whenever shit's popping off, okay? It's because they know I already have a lot of positions on issues such as this and have offered extensive coverage to issues such as what to do in Afghanistan. And that's precisely why they come in when shit's finally popping off, and that's when they choose to pay attention. So you might feel a little sense of guilt because all of a sudden you're interested in what's going on in the news, but I haven't stopped covering the fucking news.
BLS clap.
Getting mad at me for covering the news, as I literally always do, because you are aware of it for the first time ever now, is completely idiotic.
2 months. And that profound sense of anxiety, I think you may not see it on the...
Just an observation, bro. No one is mad at you. It's just a fact, bro. Chill out. Dude, you're a fucking idiot. You can't just be like, oh, it's just a fact, bro. Like, you're implying that I'm not covering the news when shit's not popping off. Like, this is what I do. I cover the news for thousands of individuals who want to be more aware of what the fuck is going on.
Streets, but it's the people who aren't on the streets today that in some ways are the real story. The people that are hiding in their homes, who are petrified to go out, who are worried about being targeted, who fear for their lives, who are too scared to tell their stories, but their stories must be told because in this moment their fear and their desperation is so real, as we saw with those extraordinary images coming from the airport that I don't think any of us will be able to forget anytime soon, John and Brianna.
Clarissa, talk more about that. Who is on the streets and who isn't? And what happens if someone does want to try to go to the airport at this point and get out?
So mainly on the street, I would say it's Taliban, and it's hard to show you, but they're literally everywhere. They're over there, they're over there, they're over there, they're everywhere. And that's how they're able to implement force, implement security, because people are so scared of them. No one is going to fight the Taliban. Then you also have some men on the streets. You have some kids. I have seen a few women, but I will say I have seen far fewer women than I would ordinarily see walking down the streets of Kabul. And the women that you do see walking down the streets of Kabul tend to be dressed more conservatively than they were when they were walking down the streets of Kabul yesterday. I've seen more burqas today than I had seen in a while. Obviously, I am dressed in a very different way to how I would normally dress to walk down the streets of Kabul. So there's a lot of children as well. I think they're more curious than anything else. And you know, it's important to remember as well, the Taliban does have, to many people...
How is this reporter able to openly record and report in Taliban-controlled territory? Okay, I am going to have to repeat myself once again. The Taliban now are the Afghan government, okay? Going forward, think about it as though she's openly on the streets of Saudi Arabia, covering with the Saudi guard behind her, okay? That's what the Taliban is now, okay? So you have to understand that it's not like they're going to be fucking murdering her for doing coverage when they want good PR and they want to normalize their government, okay? Now, the reason why... let me just say something for the record. Think about... Yeah, they are not ISIS. No, they are not. They have also controlled the government in the past. So, what I'm trying to describe to you here is like, just exercise a little bit of critical thinking. Like, oh, that's really interesting that the Taliban are right behind her and yet she is able to, you know, offer this kind of coverage. That's really interesting. I wonder why they're not like immediately murdering her and stuff. Because that's what I am inclined to believe. Okay, normalize oppression and you're in support of that? Okay, I am not in support of the Taliban. But you know what else I am not in support of? America being the referee. Because America being the referee for the past 20 years has led to exactly this moment. Bro, is a simple question. Stop patronizing them. Really? Someone saying that, like, I'm in support of normalizing oppression is just a simple question? Because it doesn't seem like it seems very loaded.
Well, this bizarre sort of mystique, John. People are intrigued by them. Some people here genuinely...
I love this. So Hamas equals good, but Taliban equals bad. It's the same thing. Oh my God. I have to repeat myself over and over and over again. Neither of these organizations are fucking good, okay? Both of these organizations, on the other hand, are, in some instances, maybe not as the Taliban, but definitely for Hamas, especially in the Gaza Strip, are considered the only fucking organization that is looking out for the welfare of the individuals that are right there, that are immediately in their region. Okay? Oh my God. It's very difficult for some of you to understand this very basic concept.
Have, to many people, this bizarre sort of mystique, John. People are intrigued by them. Some people here genuinely see them as heroes. And so it's a very odd cocktail that you find on the streets of Kabul, with so many people hiding and other people peeking out to see what comes next, and nobody really knowing what on earth to expect.
We're understanding, you know, it's hard to see how those folks who are holed up can get out, even if they are perhaps, candidates for getting out, Clarissa. Some of them may qualify for P1 or P2 visas. I know personally of people who are awaiting status checks on those applications, and it appeared that they would be able to get out of Kabul, but now Kabul has fallen. It doesn't appear that there is a plan for the U.S. government to provide safe passage for many of those people from their homes where they're holed up to the airport. Can they get out without that, Clarissa?
The problem you have now, there's definitely no plan in place to try to evacuate these people safely. Okay, the U.S. is really barely able to.
You said the Taliban offered Osama bin Laden a Bush. Then why did the UAE cut ties with the Taliban? Because they refused to give up Osama? That's a really interesting perspective. You really think that I'm going to be a fucking supporter of the decisions of the United Arab Emirates government here? Are you fucking delusional? Is this, I mean, you might be, this might literally be the first time that you've actually been here. There were members amongst the governing branch of Afghanistan that 1000% did not want U.S. invasion, U.S. bombing campaigns. They wanted to negotiate with the United States on the conditions of releasing Osama bin Laden, either to a third country or to the United States directly. Those negotiations processes never started because Bush was like, we're not negotiating with terrorists. And they wanted to continue bombing Afghanistan and then also invade Afghanistan, which everyone was horny for at the time. Okay? I don't give a fuck what the UAE had to say about this matter. They are literally, and not dissimilar to Turkey in many respects, a dog to American imperialist interests. They will literally sell out their own people, which they routinely do regardless, for a fucking F-35 plane that they probably will never even fly. Okay?
To keep a hold on the situation at the airport right now, let alone trying to extend some kind of corridor for people to leave through. So that is simply out of the question. The other problem you have is that there's this crush of humanity descending on the airport, vehicles clogging both lanes of traffic, scenes of people firing in the air to stop a sort of stampede almost. People have been shot by stray bullets. It's absolute pandemonium at the airport. And if you don't have your visa ready, if you don't have your passport ready, because a lot of people We're trying to prepare for this moment, Brianna. We saw it yesterday, long lines outside the passport office, but no one imagined that it would happen this quickly, that they would have a matter of hours to pack up their lives, get together their paperwork, book a ticket, get to the airport. I mean, it's completely unfeasible.
The Saudi businessman who recruited Mujahideen now uses them for large-scale building projects in Sudan. Robert Fisk met him in Almaty. Anti-Soviet warrior puts his army on the road to peace. Well. Who is that guy? Standing tall at like 6'4", by the way. He was a tall motherfucker. Who is that Saudi businessman, dude? We should bomb Afghanistan more to find out.
3 months following the hottest streamer on politics.
He was brave. He was anti-Soviet. That's all you need to know, baby. You guys recognize him? Who's that Pokemon? And he operated from Afghanistan. How can you not fathom that? Yeah, it's real weird that he was in Pakistan though for many years actually, and not from and it wasn't in Afghanistan. So strange. I think we should keep bombing the entirety of this foreign nation and permanently occupy it and keep giving and bring in our own fucking psychopathic warlords into areas where the current warlords don't want to comply with us, and only then, and give them bags of fucking cash, and only then maybe we can find Osama bin Laden, dude. Sounds like a good idea. Oh wait, we literally know it was a bad idea, dude. We know. You know why? Because we have the benefit of hindsight. But you're still so fucking blinded that like you refuse to look at the benefit of hindsight that you currently have.
Appreciate you.
Taliban took over Afghanistan in 72 fucking hours. Okay, they literally took over the entirety of the Afghan government in 72 fucking hours. How stupid do you have to be like, oh, dude, it was all still justifiable. What we did in Afghanistan was justifiable. It fucking wasn't, and it still isn't, and it will never be. Oh, this is what I was talking about earlier. Yes, Bush rejects Taliban offer to hand bin Laden over. Taliban demand evidence of bin Laden's guilt. Second week of airstrike starts, and Taliban urges U.S. to halt bombing. And now they have a safe haven for more terrorists. So yeah, great thing, right? Dude. I don't know how to answer your fucking dumbass take. Because we create terrorists. We allow other countries like the one most responsible for 9/11 to be our greatest ally. We give them billions of dollars of weapons under Democratic presidencies and Republican presidencies. The random fucking country of Afghanistan has less to do with 9/11 than Saudi Arabia. And yet we have done nothing to Saudi Arabia and only continued to give them guns and weapons, which also land in the hands of Al-Qaeda. Okay? I don't know if you know that. Al-Qaeda, are you familiar with that? Because they're engaging in ongoing war in Yemen using our guns and our rocket systems. Okay? Saudi Arabia is doing that. The country that has more to do with 9/11 than any other country is literally doing that right now.
LFG.
You do not give a fuck about stopping terrorists or whatever you are, whatever your delusional fantasy is. Okay?
White people happy.
You make it as if no intervention from any country is ever positive, or that there are no negatives with leaving certain countries to develop incredibly corruptly. Surely there's some global responsibility, rather letting some poor individuals grow up in terrible... Dude, American intervention is never for positive reasons, okay? Stop with this, like, civilizing force, imperialist, colonialist attitude. It's just not. Like, you're fucking delusional. You're absolutely, completely, without a doubt, wrong and delusional if you think that America has ever been a civilizing force in the Middle East, ever, okay?
Chatters be like, hey Hussein, I have a simple and not at all loaded question. Why do you support terrorists?
The situation with Afghans falling off fucking planes and having to be scraped off of rooftops in Kabul is a direct example of American interventions not being a force for good. President George Bush rejected as non-negotiable an offer by the Taliban to discuss turning over Osama bin Laden if the United States ended the bombing in Afghanistan. Returning to the White House after a weekend at Camp David, the president said the bombing would not stop unless the ruling Taliban turned bin Laden over, turn his cohorts over, turn any hostages they hold over. He added, there's no need to discuss innocence or guilt. We know he's guilty. In Jalalabad, the Deputy Prime Minister Haji Abdul Kabir, the third most powerful figure in the ruling Taliban regime, told reporters that the Taliban would require evidence that bin Laden was behind the September 11 terrorist attacks in the U.S., but added, we would be ready to hand him over to a third country. The offer came a day after the Taliban supreme leader rebuffed Bush's second chance for the Islamic militia to surrender bin Laden to the United States. Mullah Muhammad Omar said there was no move to hand anyone over. Taliban ready to discuss bin Laden's handover if bombing halts. The Taliban would be ready to discuss handing over Osama bin Laden to a neutral country if the U.S. halted the bombing of Afghanistan, a senior Taliban official said today. Bush said, we will not negotiate with terrorists, very famously, and said, fuck it, we're going to keep bombing you guys, and also we're going to invade you guys. Right, so stop bombing first, then we'll turn them over. You believe that? Why? Why wouldn't they?
Thanks for the awesome takes.
Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they literally fucking, why? To continue the bombing if they don't turn him over? Don't you think that that's better? Don't you think that that would have been a better situation? You motherfuckers asked me, how could this have been dealt with better? And I show you, and you're like, no, it doesn't matter, dude. You can't trust the Taliban. So you're basically the same. Like, you're literally the same kind of psychopath that would have justified it 20 years ago, and it still continues to justify it after the fact, dude. What's wrong with you? How about other countries start treating us like the way we treat them? How about that? You probably wouldn't fucking like that, would you? These are all moot arguments. The point was never successful nation building or catching bin Laden. The point was resource extraction of oil and rare minerals and forever fund the Pentagon and the military industrial complex. True. Yes. In many respects, with what the American government actually wanted to do in Afghanistan and Iraq, sorry, I almost said Iran, it was a massive success. Permanent war. Natural resource extraction. There's a reason why the USSR also saw Afghanistan as an important fucking area to take over. There are mineral maps that the USSR had since the fucking 80s. We only recently found out how incredibly resource dense Afghanistan was with respect to all of these like rare minerals. But, you know, it's been known for a long ass time.
For the vast majority of Afghans. And so they are now left in this desperate situation, petrified for their lives. They are being assured officially by the Taliban that there's a blanket amnesty, even for people who worked with the government, even for people who worked with security forces. But it doesn't take a genius to realize that for a lot of people...
I don't know how many people the Taliban have killed in Kabul so far. It seems like, according to on-the-ground reports that I've listened to thus far, that they haven't fired a single fucking shot. But some people did fire a shot. Some people being the American military that is now on Kabul. They killed 3 people last night, according to reports on the ground.
It's weird because I think we all have memory of him saying it in a video.
No mass attacks by the Taliban yet, but people on the ground who could be victims, so biased, but... They are now reporting that the Taliban are going door to door. 2 sources, the Fox News reporter is on their hard side, but DOD friendly. Yeah, Jennifer Griffin says, just received first-hand account that the Taliban have already started going house to house in Kabul to look for any Afghan special forces who fought alongside the U.S. military. The Taliban have all records of those who served from the KKA, the AFG special forces. We don't know what's going on there yet. I doubt that they are going to offer any sort of fucking amnesty to the Afghan security forces. They're probably going to murder them. Taliban has now started searching door-to-door looking for government officials, former police and security forces members, and those who worked for foreign countries, NGOs, or infrastructures in Afghanistan. At least 3 journalists' houses were searched within the last hour. Kabul is now becoming deadly. This is a game changer for all. Many have started counting their final hours of life in Kabul. Nobody knows what happens next. Pray for us. Okay. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if that's real or not. But it conflicts with the reporting that I've... I mean, look, everything changes. Like, things are changing immediately and fast. So they could start doing that. Do not get me wrong.
All these daily streams, whether big or whether small. So there he is again. The sun is streaming. The sun is streaming.